So hello guys, I'm RJ, and today I will show and explain to you our activity in Laboratory 1 in Midterm. So let's start in even and odd counter. So we start by defining a function named check even num. So the def keyword tells Python we're creating a function. So this function takes one piece of information called parameter, which we've named num here. So inside the function, we use an if statement to check for evenness. We use the modulus operator to find the remainder of the number divided by 2. So if the remainder is 0, the number is even. So here, the return even. If the number is even, the function stops executing and send back to string value even. So here. And else return odd. So if the if condition is false, meaning the remainder is 1. So the code executes the else block and the function returns the string values odd. So here. Next, initializing the counters. So here. So before we start our loop, we initialize two counter variables to 0. So even count and the odd count. Right? So we'll track how many even and odd numbers are entered by the user. Starting them at 0, ensure a clean count. So here. Our next part is looping and processing input. So for the code line, for I in range 5, this line starts a for loop. The range 5 means the loop will iterate exactly 5 times, allowing the user to enter 5 numbers. Okay? Then this code line, inside the loop, we prompt the user to enter a number, and we convert that input into an integer using the int function. Next code line is here, the result. So here we call our function, passing the user number as an argument. The function returns either the string, even or odd, and we store the results in the variable result. Okay, and next, if result is equals to even here. So we check the value of the result. If it equals the string even, we increment the even count variable by 1 using the shorthand operator plus equals 1. So here. Else odd count plus is equals 1. So in this part, if the result is anything else which we know is odd, we increment the odd count by 1. So the last part is the final output. So here, after the loop finishes running 5 times, these final lines display the accumulated totals stored in the even count and the odd count variables, concluding the program. So let's try the even and odd counter. So enter a number, let's say 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So the total even number is 5, the total odd numbers is 0. Okay, let's try again. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. So the total even numbers is 2, the total odd numbers is 3. So that's all for the even and odd counter. So our next activity is the factorial calculator. Okay. In this part, let's start in defining the factorial function. Here. So we start defining a function named find factorial, which is here, and it takes one parameter which we've named n. So the number n is the number we want to find the factorial of. So inside the function, we initialize a variable named factorial to 1. So we initialize it to 1 because in multiplication, starting with 0 would always result in 0. And starting with 1 ensures our first multiplication is correct. So the next part is the iteration loop. So this line starts for our loop, this line starts our for loop, which is responsible for the actual calculation. The range 1 and plus 1 function generates a sequence of numbers starting at 1 and going up to including and the number n entered by the user. So for example, if the user enter 5, this loop iterates through the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So inside the loop, we perform the multiplication using the shorthand operator. So this multiplication in equals. So this is the same as writing factorial is equals to factorial times I. So in each pass of the loop, the current value of factorial is multiplied by the current loop number of I. So in this part, the return factorial. So once the loop finishes, the function stop executing and send the final calculated value of factorial back to the main part of the script. So the last part is the main program execution. So in this code line, this is where the main program starts. So we prompt the user to enter and use int function to convert the input into an integer, storing it in a variable num. So here is the variable num. And the last code line is finally we print the result. We call the find factorial function, passing the user number num to it. So here's the find factorial and number is num. The function returns the calculated value, which is then immediately displayed as part of the output. So let's try the factorial calculator. Alright, so let's say 15. So the factorial is, wow, so long, right? Let's try again. Let's say 3. That's a factorial of 3 is 6. So that's all for the lab activity number 1 in midterm. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.